Welcome back, Mech Warriors. Today, I want to talk about brawling and positioning when you're playing a short-range brawler mech. I'm going to start off real quick with talking about the dynamics of playing a brawler when you're dropping with your friends, and your friends are all short-range builds too. I don't know if I still have some clips, so bear with me. You may see some footage playing in the background, or you may not, depending on if I can find the clips from my old account. But essentially, the number one thing to consider when you're dropping with your friends and you want to all play brawlers is the relative speed of your mechs. You don't want to bring something like a AC-20 King Crab that's running a standard engine and runs at like 50 kph max basically, and then not have that mech be able to out NASCAR any of the enemy mechs and be useless because he can't catch anyone. So what you're looking for when you drop in as a group of brawlers is you want to probably have a minimum speed of about 70 kph, somewhere around there. I think that's the lower end, and ideally you want to be at the lower 80s. Um, I think that speed range is plenty fast enough to be able to out NASCAR the enemy team so you can catch stragglers and quickly gang up on them. And obviously, um, I'm gonna reiterate this point and hit it multiple times in the video, but short range builds generally tend to have higher alphas with better heat efficiency than their mid and long range counterparts. So once you catch someone, even if they're a really good player, the chances are that just on the raw mechanics of how battle mechs and weapon systems operate, you will probably just raw dog him and roll him right into the dirt because he'll just overheat very, very quickly. Especially if there's multiple mechs that get the jump on him, overheat very quickly and die. Okay, so when you're dropping with your friends, like I said, keep the relative speed high, and you can pretty much just NASCAR at that point. You don't really have to think too much about positioning because you are taking the initiative. There's three or four of you. You're gonna take the initiative. You're gonna be very hard to kill as a small little group of brawlers. So it's okay to just NASCAR and chase the enemy mechs. You don't have to worry about too much else other than masking your approach. And every map has its idiosyncrasies. Like Canyon's a really good brawler map. Surprisingly enough, people underestimate brawlers on Canyon because you can mask your approach by just staying in the little ravines, um, the opening part of the match, and masking your approach because generally you have a pretty good idea, especially if your light mechs did a halfway decent job of poking out there and harassing, flanking. You're gonna know where the enemy is and where they're headed, so you can pretty much just stay on the low ground and mask your approach completely and take them by surprise. So that's pretty much it for the dynamics of playing brawlers and positioning when you're dropping as a group of brawlers with your friends. It's relatively simple. Um, it gets a lot more complicated when you're by yourself in a pug match. And the reason I say this is because you can't take the initiative as a brawler in a pug match because it's so disorganized, and the chances are that your team will not know how to complement your play style and support you, even if they want to. Okay, so going full throttle and chasing enemy mechs down at the start of a match when you're in a pug match is usually suicide because yes, you can out damage most mechs. I mean, the mechanics still hold true. You're gonna have a higher alpha, generally speaking. You're gonna out DPS enemy mechs, but the problem comes from the fact that early on in the match, there's gonna be 12 enemy mechs on the field. So while you may get the jump on one, I mean, realistically, it's going to be hard for you to get a jump on any of them because their lights are still on the field. They're scouting. People are moving around. Like I said, there's a whole lot of mechs on the field. So realistically, your chances of ambushing any one mech are low. If you do happen to catch one by himself, here's the problem. In the I'd say 10 to 20-ish seconds probably that it takes you to destroy an enemy mech. Maybe 30 seconds at the upper end if it's like a grueling, really close match between the pilots and the mechs. Those 30 seconds give the enemy team to respond easily and send their lights. For sure, their lights, you know how fast lights are. Lights can cover amazing amounts of ground. So in those 30 seconds, it's a very real possibility that the lights are going to see that one of their mechs is in trouble, that your mech is overextended. There's no other friendly mechs there to help you. They're going to go and kill you. So there's a high chance that you may not even kill the first mech that you get a jump on because reinforcements are going to arrive, and that 1v1 is very quickly going to turn into a 3v1 or a 4v1, and then it's over. Additionally, just crossing terrain on the opener is hazardous for a brawler if you're not with the group, because you can get in so many overlapping fields of fire. You can just get caught in the open as an isolated mech, and because you don't have your 3 or 4 buddies like you do in the group drop there to spread the damage out, you're going to get torn apart. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having, let's say the enemy pours out, typical alphas like 50 points now for mid-range, so let's say 50, and there's 3 enemy mechs that get a drop on you because you're like on HPG or whatever, and you decide to cross to the enemy spawn and see if you can catch someone that's straggling out because they joined late. Okay, you get caught in the open by 3 mechs. They have a 50-point alpha. Let's say each of them just gets 2 alphas off because it's like typical, and they don't want to use their cool shots, so they're gonna get 2 alphas off. That's 100 points of damage from each mech. That's 3 mechs. That's 300 points of damage. Your mech is probably going to be in the dirt. There's no matter how well you roll damage, 300 points of damage is probably going to destroy you or at least cripple you. So avoiding those overlapping fields of fire in the beginning of a match is paramount. That's what gets brawlers killed, and that's where people make the most common mistake I see when playing brawler mechs, is that they try to be too aggressive too early in pug matches. And yeah, you may beat up one enemy mech and almost kill him or kill him, but your team lost a mech, and it lost one of its best DPS mechs. And I'll tell you why. It behooves you to be patient and stay with the group. That's basically what it really comes down to. When you're playing with pugs and you're playing a brawler, you're not going to be able to dictate positioning. You can't go to a good spot on the map usually. You have to stick with the group and hope that your team's good enough and holds its own early in the match well enough that somewhere a minute or 2 in, you can start engaging mechs that your team catches out of position, or you yourself happen to find out of position that's not being supported by their team, that doesn't have friendlies that can cover them with overlapping fields of fire, and then you can move in and, like I said, just use the mechanics of short range builds, just raw dog them and take minimal damage, get the kill, destroy the mech, and move on, and just repeatedly do that. But in order to execute that, it requires that you be very patient at the beginning of a match. You can't go out there and try to hunt someone down and run them down at the start. You have to be patient. Stay with your group. Take cover, but don't take away people's poking positions. Like, don't take away spots on the map that your mid-range mechs can use to trade. You want to be behind cover. That way no one can get a lock on you and see what weapons you brought, to see that you're a short range build, or to see that you're even there. You want to just kind of be on stealth mode and creeping along with your team and not let anyone see you. At the same time, you don't want to take up the good trading spots on the map. So, yeah, I mean, basically what that ends up doing is if you take away a good trading spot for one of your mid-range mechs, you're actually down a mech. Like, there's one less mech trading at that point. So hide, but don't take away the good corners where people used to peek. And as long as you do that and your team's kind of sort of good enough, when the match devolves into a close range melee, like most of them usually do, that's when you pounce. And a lot of knowing when to move out and get aggressive comes from experience. It's more or less a field thing that you just develop from playing a lot of matches. But it will come to you, and you're going to be like, all right, each team's lost like 5 mechs, 4 mechs, something like that, all right? And it's starting to get where people are trading not from 1,000 meters out anymore, but, people have moved into about 300 meters. That's when you're like, okay, most of the trades are close range now. I can afford to get out there and start doing my thing. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And I want to show you this clip real quick. Commander Lemming was asking me about just positioning in general, not just brawler positioning, which is what led to this video being made. And I have a clip from yesterday when I was playing with him. And at the start of the match, I was kind of telling him we got the spawn on Frozen City that's not dropship spawn. I don't know how else to call it. Like, there's one of the high plateaus has the dropship on it, the other one doesn't. I mean, I don't know what else to say. So we got not dropship spawn, and I was at the start moving with the team, and it looked like we were going to kind of do the standard counterclockwise NASCAR rotation, and we went to that one area of the map where there's that little valley that you have to dip down into, that little path that you take to get to the other side that people used to cross a lot. It looked like we were going to go there. I was just hiding behind buildings, and I was telling them what I'm looking for is basically one of our Arctic cheetahs went clockwise and went to the left while the team was basically moving to the right. And I was watching the Arctic cheetah to see what he was going to pick up when he scouted, generally where the enemy was moving, such and such, so that way I didn't get left behind, because I don't want to be just standing there hiding and then my team decides to move on and then I'm the last mech in line that gets moving, and then I'm susceptible to being swarmed by light mechs because I'm at the tail end of the NASCAR. You don't want that. So I was basically calling these things out, and unfortunately, my mech got disconnected because I don't know, I just have problems with my game. My game crashes like 1 out of every 10 matches. My game crashes, and I keep sending error reports, but I don't know, it's never been fixed. So anyway, yeah, my game crashed. Mech got DC'd, and I came in, and basically within the space of 60 seconds, my Orion 2CA poured out 700 plus points of damage and 3 kills at the end of the match. And I think you guys will see that being disconnected more or less simulates being patient at the start of the match, because I took no damage, but I did no damage. People didn't really know I was there. And then when I went out there, I think you guys are going to see on the video that the DPS of a short range build is incredible. I mean, it just pours damage out, and it just keeps pouring damage out without overheating. It's very, very good like that. So yeah, there's that clip. How are things looking? Are we still alive?
Barely.
Barely. Oh boy.
Oh god. Yeah, I just killed 3 people, and it's in pain. Just brawling a hunchback, and an Arctic cheetah ran right in front of him and died. It's pretty hilarious. Right when I alpha'd too.
Nice.
There I go.
Oh man, I'm sorry, dude.
I got 3 people and 500 damage, so
That's solid.
it's alright.
I don't even know if my mech's alive. I'm loading in right now. I guess we'll find out if some Arctic cheetah murdered me. Probably.
I think you're still okay.
Override engaged.
Yeah, you're okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Alright, there's an Arctic cheetah that's legged in front of me.
Destroyed.
I have no idea where the enemy actually is, so I'm just gonna try to use... I'm trying to use the...
There's a leg mauler, spear bear.
Yeah, I'm trying to use the buildings to mask my approach as best as I can. Peace. Oh god, I'm getting lermed. I'm probably gonna just push this Highlander because he's all lerms. As much as I could see. My left side's getting beat up, so I'm gonna flip to the right here and let him shoot into my right hand side as much as I can. Yeah, I'm trying to shield the left hand side because those are my SRMs right now. I'm going to use the cool shot real quick. I don't know what this Arctic Cheetah is doing, but that was an XL Marauder, so... Whew! That was intense!
Well, and there were... The Arctic Cheetah that ran right in front of the Hunchback was going after you, and he got distracted.
Oh, thank
It was
God.
pretty hilarious.
Thank God. But you see what I'm saying? Like, dude, I was in the fight for what, like a minute, and this mech poured out 771 points of damage. Like, this is where short range builds absolute dominate, is the fact that they literally out DPS everything because they run cooler, they have higher alphas, and they just shit on everything. And I mean, it pretty much speaks for itself. But like, you see what I'm saying about being patient? Like, being disconnected in this match is pretty much analogous to being patient and just not doing anything because you're not in position in a regular match on a brawler, right? And just saving your armor until you can really pounce, because once you pounce on somebody, you're gonna wreck them really quick. It's just a matter of making sure you don't get caught in that crossfire. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so there's that clip, and I want to talk real quick about one other thing, which is basically the way you build your short range mechs. Like, a lot of short range mechs will carry lasers, and that's okay, but I prefer to have fire and forget weapons on my brawlers, and this is, I guess, more of a MechLab thing, but I think it's good to put in here anyway because this is a brawler guide, really. Clan brawlers are a little bit trickier because I think the IS weapons naturally lend themselves better to brawling. And what I mean by that is their ballistics are one shot and forget. Okay? So an AC-20 and AC-10, AC-5, whatever have you, it's really AC-10 and AC-20. They're going to be your brawler weapons, truth be told. They're fire and forget. You're going to, press the trigger, and then, when you pair it with SRMs and even to some extent IS lasers, the pulse lasers in particular are are so short burn that you can actually pair lasers on IS Mac platforms and have them be short burn enough that you can fire, let the laser get its burn off, and rotate your torso to shield. Clan weapons are a little bit different. The lasers burn a lot longer. The auto cannons are all multiple shells, and especially if you double tap, you're going to be staring at a target as if you're a full bore mid to long range laser vomit build. So for clan mechs, this is where I actually like using the clan LB, and I guess I'll look at the Orion. I'm going to make an Orion 2CA guide specifically here in a little bit. But this is why I like carrying LB20 over UAC20. Yes, the UAC20 is definitely has the potential to just wreck face a lot harder with more pinpoint damage. But I have found in my experience that playing with a UAC20 forces you to stare down the enemy so much more. And the Orion 2C is good. It really is. 75 tons. It's got a lot of armor plus the structure buffs now. It's a tough nut to crack, but nonetheless, you don't want to be staring at an enemy the entire length that you're engaging and giving them the chance to just pick one component and go after it. So the theory is that basically for clan brawlers, LBs are actually better than UX for the most part. And yeah, the theory is that basically like you're approaching an enemy, you're going to fire your weapons. I actually think it demonstrated that fairly well in the video. You're going to fire your LBs and your SRMs because they're fire and forget, and you're going to instantly shield. You're going to fire and instantly shield. Fire and instantly shield. Like sometimes if the enemy's not paying attention, you can engage. I have two small lasers on the arms. Sometimes if they're not paying attention, they're looking at another mech, you can engage your small lasers and get an additional 10 points of damage out. But generally, that's what I prefer to run on my clan brawlers nowadays is SRMs and LBs. They pair very well. Like I said, it does a little bit less damage. It's less pinpoint, but it greatly increases your survivability, which I think is, frankly, more important than being able to, pour damage out and have it amount to nothing because the enemy mech killed you before you could kill it. Okay. Alright, guys, so I think that pretty much concludes the brawler positioning guide. I hope this helps. And until next time, Mech Warriors, happy hunting. Let's see if we can push this.
New target acquired.
Looks like people are stalling out here.
New target
They've got control of
acquired.
this corner, but I'm going to take a quick peek on this Evan Jag. And that was a really bad trade on my part, exceptionally bad. But
I gave him touching.
nice,
Target destroyed.
I got him.
nice,
New
nice,
target
nice. I'm gonna
acquired.
take a look at that cheetah real quick,
Left arm critical damage.
and that's the last I can poke there from the left-hand side because that side is
New
toast.
target
So I'm gonna be looking
acquired.
to fight from my right-hand side now and support this cataphract and cicada there pushing
New
up,
target
kind of.
acquired. New target acquired.
Alright, looks like they got a bunch of mid-range people posted up on the hill, so I'm just going to stay in cover. You kind of pushed out into the open. That's William that pushed out. Yeah, that Kodiak. I'm going to stay here, honestly, because this is just a bad play for me to come out into the open right now. I'm going to look to rotate to my left and maybe go help with that Arctic Cheetah. Maybe.
New target acquired.
But for sure, I'm going to be looking to sneak real quick around the left-hand side. I don't want to be out in the open. Is that
Oh, got another isolated guy.
nice? Yeah, you and I are spread apart now. I'm like way on the left-hand side looking to flank.
New target acquired.
And I think my game crashed again. Lovely. Nope, I'm still in. For now.
New target acquired. Destroyed.
Alright. I got a Viper here on the left-hand side. So I don't know if you can see me, but I'm like furthest out left with this Warhammer behind me. So I'm going to be looking right now to pinch some mechs from behind while you guys keep advancing from the front. Hopefully without exposing too much of myself, because I don't really know where the enemy is at this point.
Target destroyed. Target acquired.
Looks like they came up behind where we were previously.
New target acquired.
There's a couple of guys left on the far backhand side. I'm going to try to sneak around these buildings here and use them to mask my approach. I see you in front of me. I'm going to go high while you go right,
Target destroyed.
but you just slaughtered them, so that's awesome.
I jumped on him. That was like the John Cena. It was
Nice.
hilarious. It was a drop shot. I did well that round.
Yeah, you did. Good job, buddy. Okay.
Yeah, I went the other way. There were two isolated griffins. They kept poking at me, and I was winning every single trade because I'm Spirit Bear.
Yeah.
And yeah, killed one in 2 alphas and blew off all the other one's weapons. It died.
Nice.
And I did a little bit more team play that round. Just following.
Yeah.
But it didn't go straight to the front like I usually do,
Mm-hmm.
and that definitely saved my mech.
Yeah. That's like I said, man. Brawlers just flatten most other mechs in a couple of volleys, but you just gotta stay alive to get to that later part of the game where you can find people to one-on-one instead of getting caught in that crossfire that's so deadly to brawlers. Yeah, super important.